What are some of the most toxic or potentially dangerous ideas/beliefs that have been perpetuated by Redditors? Glorification of selfishness. I get the impression a ton of people on this site have difficulty asserting themselves or recognizing or setting their own boundaries because Reddit is full of advice geared toward people with these problems. What these posters seem to forget is that not everyone is codependent with self-esteem through the floor. And yet anytime anyone wants to get out of something that someone else wants them to do, Reddit leaps to no is a complete sentence. Put yourself first. Don't jade. In real life though, maintaining healthy relationships requires sometimes doing things you aren't thrilled about for others' sake. Yeah, there's this constant idea that you don't owe anyone anything, and if someone is upset at you for not providing a simple favor, then they are an abusive controlling a-hole. I think it's just a very overly logical approach to life. Like, if life was a big mathematical equation built on the idea of each person having an exact amount of debt that they owe to other people through favors and helping others, then yeah, you're correct that I don't technically owe it to my brother to watch after his kids for 15 minutes while he makes a quick trip to the bank. But in real life, where humans have been able to exist for thousands of years partially due to the ability to cooperate and put the needs of the group ahead of the needs of the individual, then I'd be kind of an asshole for telling my brother, I'm not some nanny, bro. Take care of your own smelly kids. Worshipping celebrities. 10-year-olds don't need to receive death threats because he's never heard of a 55-year-old actor. Edit. I really didn't think I had to say this, but the kid didn't use Reddit. Redditors still banded together to harass and threaten him. He didn't violate the 13+ rule. Not that that matters, because you shouldn't send death threats to 10-year-olds, 13-year-olds, or adults for that matter. Can't believe that needed to be said. Reddit is very much guilty until proven innocent. They will jump straight down the throat of any alleged criminal with zero facts, zero context, and demand they be sentences to years behind bars, or worse. Hell, they don't even care if it's the right guy, just that somebody be punished. Remember when Reddit found the Boston bomber and the guy ended up sudokuing himself? I've been downvoted to hell for the simple comment along the lines of, maybe we should wait for all the evidence to come out. We don't know the whole story. Reddit is absolutely bloodthirsty. Not to mention all the own-upsmanship that always seems to happen as everyone tries to seem more morally absolute than everyone else. He deserves to be fed to wild dogs. That's too kind. He deserves to be castrated first. No, it'll be over too quickly. We need to skin him with a rusty cheese grater. He might bleed out. We need to dip him into a vat of sulfuric acid feet first. He might pass out from the shock. We need to have him get R-word by a bear and shoot 5,000 volts through his nipples before sticking a glass vial full of Ebola blood up his urethra and breaking it. Love yourself before you love someone else. While the intention is good, some people take that a little bit too far. Having a disability is something to accept. This should however not mean that necessary or coel surgery should not be done. I have seen a lot of blowback when someone says, I struggle with this disability, and the next person says, oh, my relative had that same thing, and they had this relatively inexpensive and low effort thing done, and now they are living a fuller life. How dare you say she's not living a full life? You're not disabled. You don't know the blah blah blah. Who are you to say she has to have surgery to correct her disability? That disability is part of her life. You can't tell someone how to live their life because they don't meet your standards. etc. Those people who make introversion out to be an excuse for some pretty terrible antisocial / misanthropic / unacceptable behavior. I don't like loud spaces and can feel overwhelmed by crowds of people. I would pay not to go to a concert. I also genuinely love the people in my life and will always make time for anyone who needs me. In my experience, this is true for everyone, extroverts and introverts alike. I absolutely agree with this. I'm a pretty socially awkward introvert, and as you said, I feel overwhelmed and freak out in loud spaces with lots of people. But I still promised myself a year ago that I'll go to all the end of school dances my school does. So far I've gone to 2. I didn't have a date, didn't specifically go with someone, and I was physically tired when I got home. But the reason I went wasn't because of the dance. It was about the people I talked to and to improve my mental state and change my routine slightly. That's the thing people on Reddit don't realize. It's that wanting to improve yourself doesn't have to mean you hate yourself. Person, help. I'm introverted. I have no friends and no one wants to hang out with me. Advice. Well, you gotta put yourself out there a little. Go join a club or get involved in a hobby you like. Go to a bar or a party or a concert. Go to the gym or pick up a sport. You'll meet cool people. Person A. I don't like doing any of that stuff. I like to stay at home and chill for the most part. You know, play video games and watch movies. Advice. Okay, cool. Lots of people like video games and movies. Why not invite some people over to your house and do some co-op or have a movie night? Person EHH. Cause when I'm at home that's my me time. Plus it's so freaking annoying when you're trying to get immersed in the story and there's people around talking or cracking jokes. I'll just be forever alone I guess while cries in corner. To an extent, Reddit plays a role in the growing anti-intellectualism. There seems to be a large assumption that this is a website of experts and lengthy replies must be credible. I saw a fellow Redditor describe it perfectly. You finally realize how little most Redditors know when they start talking about a topic you happen to be well researched in. I see this in two places primarily. Topics about public education. I'm a middle school teacher, and topics such as anti-vaccine. I understand Reddit hates anti-vax for good reason, but it is also stuck in the old anti-vaxxers are just stupid stereotype. Instead of educating and helping the problem, they just poke fun. This unfortunately drives more anxious parents toward anti-vax communities. A little empathy, understanding, and education would do more to combat ideologies such as anti-vaccines than anything Reddit actually does. To an extent, Reddit plays a role in the growing anti-intellectualism. What's really stood out to me lately is how much a picture with text has superseded even news articles. You know, the large simple black font on a white background with a photo beneath it, which seems to be increasingly the weapon of choice for many submission formats. But for news articles, it's reductionist to the maximum and absolutely insane that anybody would consider it to be a replacement or accept almost no information with absolutely no context, additional context, or verification. And yet, they do. More so than ever. The acceptance of information without evidence on Reddit is absolutely breathtaking to me. The necessity of skepticism is hardly a new concept. Plenty of people here have had social media networks around for their entire lives. Yet it's as if everybody is still working out how viral information consumption works. Actual psychologists here have been involved in research related to personality disorders for a number of years. Emphasis of this research is on cluster B/developmental components thereof. Every time I see somebody referring to a child as a budding sociopath/psychopath, I want to reach through my screen and go upside their head. 3 quick points. Edit. I'm terrible at quick. The words psychopath and sociopath are, to be gentle about it, archaic as frick. To be more straightforward, they're useless colloquialisms that pop culture/mass media has beat any semblance of meaning out of. I don't like to play a language police or anything, but the world would be better off if everyone forgot that those words exist. I'm not gonna get too far into the guts of this, but the aforementioned words are, in general, used as shorthand for some traits and behaviors most commonly associated with antisocial personality disorder. Children cannot be diagnosed with ASPD for a variety of reasons, but it boils down to physical and experiential development, notably brain development and socialization, respectively. Specifically the frontal lobe, which governs a lot of the stuff in question. That guy isn't fully developed till you're in your 20s, and it governs a lot of the stuff in question here. Plenty of kids who display antisocial behavioral patterns will essentially age out of it, so there's really no such thing as a budding sociopath/psychopath. The McDonald triad has been widely discredited at this point. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the concept, it states that if the combination of violence toward animals, starting fires and nocturnal neurosis is present in childhood, it is predictive of antisocial behaviors in adulthood. This is incorrect. It's far more likely to point toward the child experiencing some sort of abuse/neglect/trauma. People love to point toward this and chat about future serial killers or whatever, and while many serial assassins did experience some sort of extreme and prolonged childhood trauma, most people who experience this grow up to be, at the very least, reasonably well-adjusted adults. So congrats, you're applying a label that has the potential to be incredibly damaging to kids whose lives are already a living hell. Good job. Hole.